Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone Show. Tonight, we're going to talk about the most underappreciated park of the four major theme parks on Disney World property. And we're going to get into it right now as I'm joined by Kurt, John, and Darlene, and I am Stuart. This is this week's episode of the WDW Fan Zone Show, where we're creepy and spooky, mysterious, and however the rest of it goes. But no, we're not the Addams Family.
Yeah, I know. I can hear it in my head.
By the way, Darlene is so tired, so I can't wait to hear what comes out of her mouth tonight.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we have to wake her up like the Wiggles.
No,
wake up Jeff.
I think we'll probably keep her awake, but if she put her head down right now, and Darlene, I know you can hear me, you probably would fall asleep.
I probably would.
Yeah. Darlene's working very hard these days.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know. Do you guys agree with me that of all the parks, with what there's going on in each park, that Animal Kingdom is the most underappreciated for what they have to offer?
I would agree.
True.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad park. It doesn't mean that people don't go there. I just think there's so much more than you could do in Animal Kingdom that people don't realize or don't take advantage of. And they may not be getting the full or the most of their experience there out of it. I was there this week, and that's what gave me the idea for the show. Just like walking in, I just said to myself, this really is the most underappreciated park when you think about it. When we entered the park, the first thing we saw was Vine.
Oh, nice.
Divine, sorry. Which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
I've seen her before.
Great.
But this time she really did blend in with the tree that she was standing next to. And you couldn't really tell unless you focused in on her to see that, yeah, that's Divine right there. And she's moving.
And how long do you think you stood there and watched her movements?
About 30 seconds.
Oh, okay. Well, but
long, but
you do see other people that stay there for quite a while. So
you're
talking about
it's because she puts on a show for them.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen her before perform, and it's fascinating because you see these little kids walk by that have no clue, and all of a sudden, a branch will reach out towards them.
Right, and there are other types of that kind of entertainment going on all throughout the park, but another very similar kind of one is Kevin from Up.
Right.
If you happen to encounter him, I've seen him over by the Nemo Theater.
Yep.
I usually see Kevin over by Flights of Wonder.
Oh yeah, I saw that. The one time I saw him was all the way over there by the Nemo Theater.
Yeah, that's all. Guess who's joining us a little bit late? Should we let her in?
Yes.
Lottie is joining us now.
Where is she?
Lottie, are you there?
There we are. We're blessed with her presence.
Hey, Lottie, how are you? You do know the show started.
I'm sorry.
Do you have a pass for being late?
Yeah, Candace doesn't get out of the dance class until 9:00, so I'm always rushing.
That's no excuse. Drive faster.
How dare you be a parent?
No, we don't want you to get hurt.
Parent.
We don't want Candace to get hurt. That's okay.
No.
So we basically just started talking about Animal Kingdom. And right now we're talking about something like John mentioned Kevin, and I mentioned Divine. Some of the things that you see there, a lot of people go to Animal Kingdom and don't notice all that's going on and the cultural history that's there also.
Well, and they're not listed on a program, are they,
No.
or map?
No. Which, everybody talks about Animal Kingdom being a half-day park. That may have been true some years ago, but that's not true now.
I don't know if it honestly ever was a true half-day park. I know we had issues they had issues initially because they were still working on Asia, but a lot was open.
I think it got the reputation of being a half-day park because there were never that many attractions in the park.
That's it. Yeah, you were expected to walk around and actually explore. That's what they wanted you to do.
I mean, and I've said this in the past. There's the train where you can go to the petting zoo and see some of the things going on. You've got the Gorilla Falls. You've got the Maharaj Jungle Trek. I can spend a whole day there. I can get there at park opening and be there until 4 or 5 o'clock. That's only like an hour or two before park close.
Yeah.
And for the walking around in front of what they call Discovery Island.
Yeah.
In front of the Tree of Life, all the different pathways. Just go and explore.
I've done that before too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they now have, yes, they do have a separate bird show, but now they have sometimes they'll put on a little show with birds in front of the tree when you walk into the park. That's always fun to see and explore. And you can get really up close with those birds too. I forgot what I was going to say now.
Well, you just talked you talked about a lot all within
A second.
30 seconds there when you talked about all the trails that Darlene talked about Gorilla Falls and Maharaja Jungle Trek, and Kurt talked about the Discovery Island trails. Those trails have so much to explore within them.
Oh, absolutely. And we just took both trails, the Gorilla Trail and the Maharaja
Jungle Trek.
Jungle Trail. And there's right now the cast members are back. They were gone from there for a while. You'd see maybe one or two and not too many in between. The cast members are back in different sections of the trail, helping explain what you're seeing there. There's also I'm going to call it plaques for lack of a better choice on my part, that gives you information on the animal that you're looking at and a little bit about the animal that you're viewing, or bird or insect. Or I think it is, everybody's talked about Epcot being an educational park. I don't think that's so true anymore compared to Animal Kingdom. I think Animal Kingdom is the most educational park you'll find anywhere. I know when we used to take our kids there, and the park is very different now than it was when our kids were little. It was educational for them because there's the petting zoo there, the train ride that will take you to the petting zoo. But now there's just so much more that's trying to encompass entertainment with education than there ever was. And I forgot the name of the place. When you take the train to the petting zoo, there's that building there where you can learn, what is it? You can draw, I think.
Characters.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's fun, not just for kids, for adults too.
Trying to remember what the name of that. Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Yep, that's it. That is it. I'm so bad with names on
places. I'm tired that I'm coming up with this stuff. Oh, coming up with that.
That's because Darlene is so tired. Her brain is clear because she can't think about anything else.
And how much time does it take to get on the train, get to Rafiki's Planet Watch, tour around, whether it's viewing the petting zoo or viewing the animal care center and everything else that's there? That's over an hour's worth of time, isn't it?
It is.
I would think, yeah. The train ride itself is not long.
No.
There's
but
enough to keep you occupied.
You do get to see the backside of the park, and you sometimes get a glimpse of. We got to see a glimpse of the baby rhino when we took it the last time, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, watching the Animal Kingdom series on Disney Plus is a good way to get connected to the animals that are there and in the different capacities. And then when you do take the train and go to Rafiki's Planet Watch, it'll connect that much more for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I looked at my phone and we were still in the park, and I had put on walked about 3.5 miles, but I didn't feel like I walked 3.5 miles. And and that was going through 2 trails and standing online, and the safari, which normally takes about 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We were on there, it was close to 45. It was a little under 45 minutes because we had to wait not once but twice for animals crossing.
Did you have the ostrich crossing, or was it a giraffe?
One was a giraffe. I forgot what the other one was. I think it was zebras that were crossing.
Zebras?
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
They always say the ostrich only has a brain the size of a walnut, so don't expect much out of it.
So do a lot of the guests in the parks.
Well,
And you're talking about Kilimanjaro safaris.
yes.
And one of the things that you might want to consider is going on Kilimanjaro safaris twice at 2 different times, because the animals that you'll see and the way they're acting could be different depending on the time of day you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've noticed later in the afternoon, for some reason, more animals are out than they are earlier in the day. And I remember years ago when the park first opened, you couldn't find animals anywhere. It's like, okay, we took this trail, Big Red's around the corner, but where are the animals?
Right.
Now Big Red is gone, but the animals are all over the place. And I think it was just acclimating to their new environment. It just took them time. So you do see animals out all the time, but I've noticed, because every time I go late in the afternoon compared to the morning, there's always more animal activity going on. And maybe it's just the luck of the draw with me. I don't know. There's no science to it. It's just that's what I've observed.
My best picture of the lions on the top of the rock is in the later afternoon, when I had a great picture of the male lion in the middle and then a lioness on either side.
Yeah. And this time when we walked through the gorilla trail, I saw more gorillas hanging around than I've ever seen before. Usually I'll see a couple. They were all out. It seemed like they were all out. We saw at least a half dozen, if not more.
Were they doing any feeding or
No,
animal engagement?
One was in a tree, just like hanging out in a tree. A couple were resting on rocks in the shade. But it was fun seeing it.
Yeah, what's really cool is which I don't know if Michelle told you, we've seen the animals at Animal Kingdom Lodge eating and stuff, and that was really neat.
Those are the guests, darling. Did you not realize that?
Oh,
They were rolling around in the But it's so cool to watch them, and I love watching the zebras do that, or the giraffes do that in the park. There's a number of giraffes at Animal Kingdom right now.
Yeah.
All the way from older to young,
Oh, I forgot what kind of dogs they are. They're called something dogs that you rarely ever see when you go on the safari. They were all out.
The Australian dogs?
I don't remember the name of it for some reason. I just can't think of it. It wasn't the hyenas. Excuse me.
No, they're wild. They're wild dogs.
They're wild dogs.
Yep.
There's normally like 3 of them in there.
There was a whole group of them out. It was nice to see.
What are they, Elati?
I said dingoes, but I'm not sure if that's.
I don't know if they're dingoes. Hold on.
No, they didn't call them dingoes. They called them something else.
painted dogs? What, African wild dogs?
African wild dogs? It could be African wild dogs. Not that I have a animal
No, it's not coming
listing, in front of me.
Painted dog. They're painted dogs.
Yeah, I don't
Wildlife
remember.
Wednesday. The painted dogs at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, we introduced the painted dogs to Kilimanjaro Safari Savannah earlier in the week at Disney's Animal Kingdom. Oh, that's Animal Kingdom. Yeah. That's it.
Also, so speaking of dogs, there were a couple of people that brought their service animals into the park. I know people have a need for service dogs, and they have a right to to them. But is it just me, or does anybody else think it's cruel to allow these dogs to walk that much in a hot park on any given day?
Yeah.
No, those
Yeah.
dogs can walk more miles than you and I combined.
I think they're trained for that. I mean, especially if
Yeah.
folks are taking care of them. I've seen folks with
I
the
guess.
little shoes on the dogs, and they have water
Yeah,
for them.
that's what I was going to say.
All right. That's fair.
They stop and water them regularly. They're there for a reason. I knew
Mhm.
someone that had one because the dog could sense before they were having a seizure.
That's good
So
to
it
hear,
was
because I
important that the
always
dog
think
was
of,
with them.
I always just think of when I see that, I go like, God, are they being cruel to that dog by bringing them here?
Not at all.
No,
Oh, good.
not if it's a legitimate service animal.
Right.
Correct.
And we know some of them are not. And I'm not saying the ones in Disney World aren't. I'm just saying we know people that have service dogs that are not really service dogs. Amazon sells the vests that say service dog, and anyone can get them.
You can tell when they're not trained correctly.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
and I think, no, I can't confirm that. I thought for a while, they were making you bring the papers to prove that they were a service dog.
No, I don't
I
think
don't
they
know if they're
are.
doing that though.
I don't believe they are. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off topic like
Yeah,
that.
look, just a hair. And not that I've seen any hares in the park, but
Mhm.
or rabbits or anyway.
Yeah, and I can't remember because I'm so bad with names of animals, people, places. There were those two. They almost look like not like ostrich birds that when you're on this before you get on the safari, when you're walking through the queue, they were putting on a show for everybody, dancing around with each other.
Was
It
it
was cool.
Kevin?
I'm sorry?
Kevin?
No, not Kevin. These were actual
Oh.
birds. They were putting on a show, just dancing with each other. It looked like they were dancing.
Kevin is
You
an
mean like a
actual
tall-legged bird?
Yes,
this-
tall-legged birds with the funny heads.
That's Kevin.
That was cool seeing that. The way they were interacting with each other. It was like Dancing with Stars for birds. But you know, when you go to animal and there's things you can do extra, and I think Darlene, you did this once, the safari trail.
The Wild Africa Trek.
Yeah, the Wild Africa Trail. Yeah.
You're muted, Darlene.
I know. I did that back in 2011 when it first started, and it was a lot of fun. I know friends of mine are doing it again for the second time. They haven't done it since 2011. So I'll have to see how they enjoy it this time, if it's just as good as it was then. Stuart, you're muted.
And what I was trying to say when I was muted, now you're allowed to feed your young ones to the animals if you
Yeah.
choose to.
Oh,
No, that is not true. That was a joke. A bad joke, but it was a joke.
okay.
Golly.
There go half of the listeners.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Stuart, what did you have for dinner? You're just on it today.
I'm just overtired. Anything else you guys can think of in the parks there that we haven't even touched on?
Oh,
Pandora.
we haven't even begun to talk about a lot of things.
No.
So
Food.
you talked about certainly Kilimanjaro safaris,
Mhm.
and you talked about the Maharaja Jungle Trek and the Gorilla Falls trails, where you get to encounter a lot of animals.
Mhm.
And you mentioned about the birds on Discovery Island. There are a lot of other animals that you can encounter close up in
Mhm.
various places, including on Discovery Island or right at the entrance to the park, or the monkeys near the Yak and Yeti restaurant. So there are
That's
a lot
right.
of other places throughout the park where you can see wild animals
Yep, there's an
up
anteater.
close.
There's an anteater towards the
Mhm.
front of the park when you walk in or leave, depending on which way you go. Turtles, the tortoises.
Mhm.
The monkeys by Kali River Rapids.
Right.
are out
Yeah,
a lot.
that's why I said Yak and Yeti. So
Yeah.
between Yak and Yeti and Cali River Rapids, right?
Yeah, Kali River Rapids was down when we were there the other day. I don't know if it's been, short-term refurbishment or if it was just out for some other reason.
I haven't done that in years. I
Mm.
never want to get wet.
I've been on it twice, and it's been a long time since I've been on. But I have never gotten wet.
It's
I get
not
so
like
excited
unless they
too.
changed it again, it's not as wet as it used to be. It used to be you get to the top of the ramp and there was a jet that sprayed up and then it went away and then it sprayed up again and then COVID hit and it went away.
Well, one of my
a lot
neighbors won't go.
the details went away for a while. I don't know
Yeah, I
if
remember
any
that.
of that's back.
One of my neighbors won't go on it anymore because every time he goes on, he gets soaked.
Well, if you're on the wrong
That's
angle,
me.
you're soaked.
I'll just skip it.
I do miss the truck that was the logging when it was falling down in.
Oh, right.
They're talking about the deforestation. That's what you were learning about with that attraction. It's gone now. I'd love to see it back.
No, we lost John for a second.
Speaking of gone,
John, where forth art thou gone?
I saw
wonder if you
everybody.
lost
I saw everybody.
Now he muted himself.
uh-oh.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I was apparently
Interesting.
disconnected for a moment.
We still can't see you, but we can
Yeah,
hear
we still
you.
can't see. We can hear you. We can't see you.
It reset everything. Sorry.
There he is. So yeah, Kali River Rapids has changed through the years.
Mhm.
You don't get as wet as you used to. They used to have a thing in the center where you could put everything to keep it dry. That's gone because it wasn't perfect. So they just tell everyone to put everything in a locker now. Do not bring anything on there that you don't want to get wet.
Mhm.
You know what?
Because
That
there's
makes sense.
nothing in the center.
Yeah, I'd like to see them put a little more into the ambiance of the attraction, so to speak. Whether it's bringing back some things that are gone or bringing new things to it.
Does
I
that
don't know. I'll
Make it a little more interesting.
that has
one
a
of the
fairly
attractions.
long. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
John.
That has a fairly long queue, doesn't it?
Yes. The queue is very detailed.
Mhm.
It's once you're on the attraction where things
Right.
The only thing that hasn't changed is the kid at the top that holds the button down that sprays you as you're exiting.
Yeah. What I found the last time I was on, and it's been a while since I've been on Kali River Rapids, but the last time I was on, what I noticed the most was you go through this amazing queue and you get to the attraction. It was almost like it was a disappointment because you're expecting so much more and it's just not there.
Yeah, a lot of the detail was removed. Unfortunately.
An attraction we haven't mentioned yet, and I know I'm changing course here a little bit, is Dinosaur. When you speak of attractions that have changed, now the pre-show for that has not changed. The video with Felicia
Rashad.
yeah, Felicia Rashad Wallace. Is it still Wallace or no? Or is it just Felicia Rashad? Was it ever
I
Wallace?
just thought
Well, whatever. Anyway,
It used to be Felicia Ayers Allen.
that video's got to be 100 years old. It's like updated
It's
already.
the original park video.
Yeah, well, I know. I think the
Exactly.
attraction is going to go away, and that's probably why they haven't updated it. But I think that
You think
the
so?
time. Yeah, I do. I think we are going to get the
Indiana
Raiders
Jones and the
attraction here.
Temple of the
That
Golden Eye.
I'm pretty sure that'll
Someday.
happen sooner than later.
Mm.
There's look. Don't hold me at my word for that. I just have a feeling that's going to happen. They've kind of.
I was under the impression that the ride, the path that it takes is identical.
It is.
Someone told me that it's
Yep.
about 25 to 30 feet short of the attraction in Disneyland, but the layout is basically the same.
What I heard
Yeah.
the same thing, Kurt. It's
Definitely.
exactly the same track.
Yeah.
With just completely different,
Yep.
features and
And
environment.
that can easily be changed and retrofitted if they have to, if it's a little short.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that if that does happen. Hopefully it will. And I love Dinosaur, but I love the original Dinosaur, which was called The Land Before Time.
Countdown to
Countdown to
extinction.
Countdown
extinction.
to
Countdown. That's it. Countdown to yeah. Yeah, I don't remember anything. And
Yeah, when the
Dinoland's
dinosaur movie came out, they tamed it down a little bit, so it wasn't quite as fast or as rough, so they could get a shorter height for all the kids that just went and watched the dinosaur movie, and they could now ride the attraction. Would it go from? Did it go down to 40? It was either 48 or 52, and they lowered it down
Yeah.
to
Interesting.
42, maybe.
And the dinosaur at the end would
Don't
stick
quote me.
its head right into your vehicle. It doesn't do that anymore.
Looks like 40 inches.
40 inches now.
Yeah. It used to shake and bake a little bit more too than it does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Shakes and bakes. What now?
yeah.
It's amazing how many adults are afraid of the attraction.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Kids love it, but it's the adults. You're right.
If you have a back issue, you can really throw your back out on that ride now.
Oh,
I heard
it realigns
chiropractors
mine for me.
recommend it.
Yeah, your neck and stuff. Oof.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
anywhere
none
near
of
as
my
good.
kids like it.
Yeah, sorry, Lottie.
I said none of my kids like it. They won't
Oh,
ride it.
really?
Yeah.
I still like the attraction, but not as much as years ago when it was a little more insane. And then there's Dinoland. Now, this is not the educational part of Animal Kingdom, Dinoland. That's probably going to go away too in a couple of years or a few years. I
Most
think
of
we're
it's gone.
yeah.
I believe back in that, even back in Dinoland, there are some little nooks where you can walk around and see models of dinosaurs of what they would look like over by the Dino Research Lab. That's another
I know
way
there's
to
that
go.
big one I took a picture with years ago.
Sue,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sue, yeah, Sue. Yeah.
yes. So when Animal Kingdom first opened, that whole the Chester and Hester's Dinoland area,
Mhm.
all that was they were working on Sue. And so they were making plaster as they were cutting it out. They were actually making plasters of it. So they kept the original, or they kept one. The original came up here to the up to Chicago to the Field Museum.
Neat.
So McDonald's helped pay for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we've got It's a Bug's Life. That was another attraction we haven't spoken about yet.
That unfortunately is going away.
It is.
That is definitely not one of my favorite movies.
Oh,
Or-
love that.
Oh, I loved it too.
I just don't like the
A
bug.
Bug's Life.
Oh, I love a
It's
Bug's
tough to be a
Life.
bug.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I love
Yeah,
the
that's
I
right.
love that movie, but not the show with the stuff in there.
Oh, it's tough to
Oh.
be a bug. Oh, I love It's Tough to Be a
Yeah.
Bug.
Yeah, and I think that held up, time-wise, from when the movie came out to present day. I think it's held up very well.
Mhm.
Well, of course, because they're bugs. They're millions of years old. So what's going to
Yeah.
change?
Yeah, bugs are always going to be bugs.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think what else there used to be Mickey. Well, there was you could still see parts of what would have been Beastly Kingdom, where Camp Minnie and Mickey used to
The
be
waterfall
as well.
is still there.
Yeah, which is now, I guess, part of Pandora.
Yeah, it is.
So you can still see traces, and it's just interesting to see what was supposed to be and what was
Mhm.
and what now is. And I think they've done a phenomenal job with Pandora. Best counter service restaurant in all the parks is right there. It's Cooley's Canteen.
I can't disagree. I cannot disagree. It is very savory.
That's one of
Yes.
your favorites, isn't it, Kurt?
It is, and we haven't gone there in a couple of years, and we've already
Joanne's
said we are
eyes.
going back.
I'm just trying to blink. My eyes are so dry. I have to put more drops in.
That's
It's
okay,
so
Charlie. If
good.
you want to go to sleep, you can. I just hope who's ever
Yeah.
watching or listening to the show doesn't go to sleep with you.
I
Well,
know,
the great thing about Satuli's Cantina is you can mix and match it in like how many different ways.
Oh yeah.
Your base, your protein, your
Yeah.
dressing.
I think the only thing I've had is the bail bun. Is that
Bao bun.
bao bun?
Bao,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Hamburger bao bun,
Cheeseburger
bao bun, those are good.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
cheeseburger.
those are good.
Yeah, I'm partial to the noodles with chicken as opposed to I've had the beef also, but the beef
I like the beef.
I like my
Noodles-
beef
Oh, the
well
noodles with
done.
shrimp. You know, considering how many people like that restaurant and how popular it is, I'm surprised they haven't taken that model
Mhm.
to another restaurant.
Right.
You know, on property.
I
Just
think they
I'm
have a
surprised.
little bit in Star Wars land, but
Oh yeah, the Docking Bay 7.
yeah, that's as
Mm.
close as you can find.
Right. It's not the same concept, but it's more unique
Mhm.
in the combinations.
Yeah, and I
So-
think Lottie's right. I think they should have taken it. Excuse me, and little cough there, and put something similar to that elsewhere in other parks too. Sorry, Tony.
I was at Disney Springs and we come in by the Orange Garage, and there's that Japanese place, and they just put a new
Yeah.
bao. How did you say it, John? Bao bun?
Bao bun.
Bao
Bao
bun.
bun.
They've got 2 varieties now. So they've got
Mm.
those there. I haven't tried. We haven't even eaten at that place yet.
Yeah,
It's a little kiosk. Like
Yeah.
it's like right in, yeah, I've eaten there one time. It was okay.
Did they have those bao buns at that time too?
They did, yeah.
They did? Okay. Yeah, they have a new one, they said. So
Yeah, it's
you know,
okay.
something we mentioned but we haven't touched on, and it goes back. Some of it goes back to food, and some of it goes to the, you know, but it's more of the culture in the lands, Africa and Asia. You know, it's yes, you have World Showcase and you have different pavilions from around, you know, countries around the world, but you don't get the culture that you get in Animal Kingdom. You know, and I think it's wonderful what Disney has done, bringing in some of the African and Asian culture into the Animal Kingdom. So it's not just the animals there. You're learning about the way different people live and enjoy life every day in other parts of the world that you might not have access to or ever have access to by going there.
I like watching the music and the dancers
Mhm.
at Tamu Tamu.
The Tam
You
Tam
know what I
drummers.
want to know about the dancers? When it's 100 degrees out and they're wearing long sleeves, and
I
it's like,
feel
how
so
do they
bad.
survive?
They're
Yeah.
very thin. They're
Yes.
very light.
Yes, they are.
Yes, I have some students who are from some of the Middle East countries, and I've asked them about that, and they've showed me how thin it is. It's to help keep them from getting sunburn all the time, but the air just blows right on through them. And I'm sure in Africa, it's the exact same way in the Africa area over there in that section. So,
But they're dancing around, singing. It's like it's 100 degrees out. It's like I hope they're getting paid well because they deserve it. Absolutely deserve it, and they're phenomenal too.
I hope they're staying
They are.
hydrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Certainly a lot of entertainment.
Mhm.
When you think about it, there's a lot of entertainment in
Yep.
Animal Kingdom. You talked about that. You talked about Divine and Kevin, the Up Great Bird Adventure Show, and I'm gonna leave it up to Stuart to talk about 2 of your other favorite shows there.
Oh, Lion King and Nemo.
Yes. So is
Lion
Yeah,
King.
we haven't even mentioned that.
all right, right.
Um,
They're 2 huge headliner shows.
Yeah, they might be the 2 best shows in all the parks. Actually, I think they are the 2 best shows. Beauty and the Beast is
Yeah.
wonderful, but I'll take Lion King
Not
and Nemo over that any day of the week.
every time.
And as much as I love Lion King, and I love Lion King, I'm a little partial to Nemo. I think Nemo's just a little bit better.
Now they've changed the show. How for the better? For how is it
Better.
changed?
Better.
Okay.
Like I can't explain how, but it flows incredibly well.
Okay.
Mm.
We'll have to see it again this year.
Yeah, it's definitely, I've gotten to see both shows quite a few times. And like I said, I'm a little partial to Nemo just because I think it's a little fresher, where Lion King's been around a lot longer.
Mhm.
But that doesn't make Lion King a worse show. That's my preference. And I know a lot of people who love The Lion King more than any other show on Disney property.
Mhm.
And you can't tell them they're wrong, because they're not wrong.
Well, they refreshed Nemo, but they have not refreshed the Lion King show. So I wonder if that's got something to do with
they
it.
did. I thought that
Yeah,
they
they
had
did.
Did
adjusted it some when they brought it back after it
They
had
did.
closed.
What did they refresh with it?
they took a lot out of it, and then when they
And then-
came back, they added a few like little tweaks.
Yeah.
Because I thought when it first came back, there was a lot missing because you couldn't do the tumble monkeys. But
Right.
now that's all back. To my last time I saw it, I thought it was back to the original show. That was last year, but
Yeah, but I think Darlene's right. I think there were a couple of tweaks to how they do the performance.
I have to look closer.
Yeah. Because I've seen it so many times, I don't really notice anything. It's like, oh yeah, the tumble monkeys are back, but what's different? I don't know. But I think there is something. I think it's a little longer, the performance. We were there when they couldn't continue with the show because the fire wasn't working properly.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So they played it safe rather than be sorry. So
Right.
Well, that was the last time we went to see Nemo, and the fireworks they were underneath the mines and the mines would go off. One of them didn't go off, so the show had to stop.
wow.
And all it was like basically like a firecracker not
Mhm.
going off, and they're like, "We're sorry, we have to stop the show." So
Yeah.
that was 10 years ago.
Wow.
So
If there's one thing I think I could say that Disney can do better with Animal Kingdom, it would be, that area where they used to have the kite show,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Do
they
something
brought
with
in the characters. They need to do something with that space. It's just sitting there.
Yeah.
The
That's
theater
fun.
on the river.
Yeah, it's a big
Oh,
space.
sure.
so hot during the day there, though.
Yeah, it is. Either bring in an evening show that won't scare the animals, or put some kind of, and they can do it. They can put a covering of, it could be a canvas type cover. I forgot what you would call those things.
Canopy?
A canopy. That's it.
Canopy.
They could put a canopy up to give people in the stands a little bit of shade and create a show there. There could be, because there is a stage on the other side. It doesn't have to be a water show. They could use the elements of the water somehow. They could do something like World of Color there too. No,
You
I'm
know,
not
one
doing
thing
that.
I'm looking at the map right now. If you can't find something to eat, whether a snack or a drink, something is wrong, because there are so many options for you here,
Oh my
including
God.
our residential alcoholics who could get their Tamu refreshment Dole Whip with their either dark or coconut rum.
Yum.
They won't give you both.
Right.
No, one or the other, because they're only allowed
Yeah.
one shot in there.
Wow.
Nice
For
try.
me, you have to have the coconut.
I like the dark room.
And two of the best restaurants outside of Epcot are in Animal Kingdom, in Tusker House.
And Tiffins.
Yeah.
And I was going to say
Yeah.
Yak and Yeti.
Well, there's three.
Yeti.
And there's
Three.
three, yeah. I haven't eaten
I
Tiffins
think
yet. I've heard good things.
I think folks underestimate the restaurants at Animal Kingdom, but
Mhm.
I agree.
they are all phenomenal.
Yep. It's funny when I hear people go like, "Oh, I don't really feel like going to Flame Tree Barbecue." It's not because they don't like it. It's because there's so many other better choices.
Well, and that's part of the reason why we haven't eaten over in Pandora in a couple of years, is because it's been so long since we went to Flame Tree Barbecue. We're like, hey, let's go back over here for a minute. We haven't
Yep.
been there in a while.
And next to Yak and Yeti is the counter service restaurant, which has a lot of the same food you could get in Yak and Yeti at a lower cost.
Mhm.
Correct. The local food cafe.
And
I have eaten there.
next to Tiffins is one of Lottie's favorite lounges.
Nomad Lounge.
It is my favorite lounge.
No.
Nomad is my favorite.
And here's something else to think about. What park of the 4 do you think has the most shaded areas? Animal Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. They do.
As hot as it could be in some
Well,
places.
Because of the most foliage, I mean.
Yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be hot in a lot of parts of that park, but it could be nice and shaded in others.
It feels
Yeah,
like
you're
the
not
park's
likely to
always-
get sunburn. Go ahead, Lottie.
No, I was just gonna say it feels like the park's always 10 degrees warmer than everywhere else on property.
That's what I was going to say. There's so much foliage, you're not necessarily going to get sunburn, but it just holds that heat in there. So I agree. It's always 10 degrees warmer in that park.
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I've been to Epcot and I've been to Hollywood Studios where I've prayed I was in Animal Kingdom because it's so hot in those parks.
You've had this discussion before.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to answer that by saying everyone is entitled to their opinion. And the only way you're going to know which one is truly the hottest and coolest for you is by going to all of them.
Yeah. Well, I remember another podcaster actually doing measurements and recording temperatures in the park.
Oh my God.
You know, I actually have one of those handheld things where you can take it and point it at somewhere and see what the temperature is. Maybe I'll do a scientific experiment.
You're going to do your own.
There we go.
Research trip.
Yeah.
Research trip. Hey.
Won't take me and Darlene long to do a research trip.
I know. We're gonna have to do one of these light years when I get back on my cruise.
Yeah, I'm going to be blocked out of the parks for 3. You know, the annual pass I have is the Pixie Dust because I won't go to the park. I won't go to the parks on the weekends because that's when everybody goes. It's just like I don't want to be there with the crowds when I'm here all the time. So I'm blocked out this year for 3 weeks in March to the beginning of April because of spring break and when Easter falls out. And I'm okay with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm okay with it because I won't go to the parks when they're that crowded anyway. But usually it's 2 weeks. And this year it's just because Easter falls the way it does. So it's kind of pushed to 3. So
Yep. I have the same issue.
yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I don't mind. I'll miss the parks for those few weeks, but I don't mind because I don't want to deal with the crowds.
Yeah. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Now, I know someone that was down there the week. They actually, wish I would have known it ahead of time. I could have seen if you wanted to be on our last week's show. They did a 3-day cruise with a 4-day park, staying at the Riviera. And they said they were down there, it was Martin Luther King week, and it was not as busy as you would have thought it would have been. They said they left right before it got crazy crowded. So
Could have been the lull between Princess and stuff too.
the main marathon and the Princess Marathon.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna bid goodnight and have a magical night and see y'all in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Mhm.
Bye, Darlene.
See you, lunch lady.
Yep. Have a great trip.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
I do.
All
I
right.
know she's going to listen to this, so I'm going to say this. But she'd never leave. And I'm only saying that. And I'm only saying that because I know. Hey, Kyle. Because I know she's going to listen to the show. She's the only one that listens to the show of all of us on here. I can't stand hearing my voice, so I'll never listen to the show.
I did hear you briefly talk about me last week. Very briefly.
Yeah. So Kyle just peeked in and peeked out. I miss Kyle.
I hope. Oh, anyway.
We got to do another Marvel show to get Kyle back on.
Yep. Or when Epic Universe comes around, we'll have him do a show on the history of Super Mario.
Oh yeah, he'd do that totally.
I could see him doing that.
I was running in the gutter along Las Vegas Boulevard when I heard Lottie say he's not waiting that long. First thing he's doing is going to Epic Universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as it opens.
So, getting off topic for a minute here, do you think Disney's going to have a response? I think it's going to be a late response because they're already behind the 8 ball with what Universal's doing. But do you think they will have a response to say, well, they're doing this, but look what we're going to bring a few years down the road?
I think they're behind. I think they're behind because of Bob Chapek. I mean, they'll get caught up eventually.
Well,
but
Chapek or the world events that cause things to kind of
they're behind. They got to finish Epcot.
Yeah, I think there is a hint of what they're planning on doing, and I think we're not going to see a 5th park as much as I would like to see that, and maybe some of you out there would like to see. But I think we're going to see the expansion where possible in the other parks.
I agree. I think they're going to expand the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I think you're going to see that first. I think
I mean, they've certainly already indicated that.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom that are going to get a little more of an expansion. Yeah. I think they have a problem with Hollywood Studios, though.
There's still talk about villains and where they're going to put them.
Yeah.
How they're going to represent them. Is it squeezed into another park like they talked about in the Magic Kingdom, or is it potentially a 5th gate?
Like I don't see the 5th gate happening anytime soon.
I think it's going to be expansion.
Pardon? Sorry?
Yes.
D23. When is that? Is that this year?
This year, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hopefully we'll get some good news out of there.
Yeah, let's hope. What I'd like to see them do, and I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, they need to add attractions to Hollywood Studios somehow, some way, somewhere. I don't have the answers for that. And we've discussed this on the show too, and I don't want to get into it now. But I think that's something that they're going to have to address down the road. I don't think they have to address it, anytime soon. But I think that's something they're going to have to look at very seriously in the next, I want to say, 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to Animal Kingdom. Is there anything, we've been all over the place with this, and I think we've mentioned a lot and giving people food for thought.
Well, one thing I've thought about that we didn't talk about it, and I think it adds to your experience and spending the whole day there, and that is the shopping. And
yes,
the gifts that you can get at Animal Kingdom are very unique. Yeah. So what you can get in Asia versus what you can get in Africa are different. Mm-hmm. Even from some of the things you can get on the Discovery Island, the two opposing gift areas, the Island Mercantile and the Discovery Trading Company.
Those two gift areas, I think they're lacking in what they could be offering, especially compared to the rest of the park. So people who wait to go to those two shops, you've missed out already.
Yeah. Well,
I think they're almost they for a while were clones of each other on opposite sides.
Right. They definitely have changed them over time, but they also have a very diverse set of gifts other places like Expedition Everest or Pandora.
Pandora, it's the only place you can buy the Banshees. The only place
the Ekron
at Walt Disney World. Yep.
Yeah, and the shop's right outside of the Kilimanjaro Safari. That you can't find those products anywhere else on property.
Right. Yeah, in Harambe Village there, correct.
In Harambe, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they certainly have a gift shop outside of Dinosaur, and they've got Chester and Hester's, and
yeah, and there's talk about, what was it, Encanto and was it Coco coming there?
Well,
it was Encanto and Zootopia.
Zootopia and
Zootopia was off the table.
Zootopia was what was going in at.
Yeah.
It's tough to be a bug, unless they change that.
Oh, that's
Well, that was one of the.
I think you're right. No, but I mean Diamond Land. I thought Zootopia, they were going to make a land and decided not to, and it was going to be Coco and Encanto. That's what it was.
And certainly Indiana Jones.
Yeah, right. The Indiana Jones. Oh God, that's going to be phenomenal there if they do that.
Mm.
I think whatever they do, there will be an improvement over what's there now. I think it'll just further enhance the time you want to spend in that park.
yeah.
You know, it's funny. We've talked about what you can do at Animal Kingdom.
Mhm.
We haven't really talked about Pandora.
No, we haven't. Isn't that amazing? And there's so much to do in Pandora. And Kurt, what have you always said about Pandora between day and night?
It completely changes.
Yeah.
It completely changes. If you want to take the best pictures, some of the best pictures in Walt Disney World, bring a tripod. Have some, even if you're only taking it with your phone, bring a tripod, get a phone holder, and set that puppy up. And if you can get a remote, use the remote, and you will get some of the best photos, period, at that park.
And the sounds at night, just
Clear.
They change.
yeah.
Yeah, they're no longer herbivores, that's for sure. The predators come out at night.
All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about Animal Kingdom that we haven't mentioned or maybe skimmed over a little bit too quickly?
One other item I have is you could consider while you're over there, consider a trip to Animal Kingdom Lodge at the same time.
If they'll let you in.
Well, if you can get a dining reservation either at Chico or at Boma, or now will they let you in if you've got a mobile order at Mara? I know I've gone there recently without, but it might have been, I don't know if it was on a bus. It was on a Disney bus.
Well, you could take a Disney bus over there.
Yeah, you can certainly take a Disney bus over there.
Just make sure you get back to your car on time.
Yeah, well, right. But if you went there for lunch, they've got some similar gifts that they have in their. They have a big gift shop there. You could eat at the Mara for the counter service, or you could eat at Boma or Chico or Sanaa.
I have not eaten at Chico or Sanaa yet, but I've got to tell you, I love Boma.
Yeah.
Boma.
They're all three are excellent. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the brunch, you're right, Lottie.
Oh, it's so good.
So
with my food allergies, I'm afraid with some of the food that's over there, because there are some things I just cannot eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great with allergies though.
Oh yeah, they are. I just
Kurt, that's very selfish of you.
That's one of the things I'm allergic to, and chickpeas and soy and things like that.
Well, there isn't a ton of seafood on that buffet.
No, there isn't. It's some of the other things that
salmon, I think is on there, but like the babodi is sausage and eggs and peppers and onions and
that
cornbread.
Now, if you want a really good buffet in the park, go to Tusker House in Animal Kingdom.
It's the same food as Boma for the most part.
I think it's a little more expensive than Boma, but
it is because it's character dining.
Yeah. It's I think the more we talk about Animal Kingdom, I think the more you realize you can spend a full day there and maybe then some.
Well, and spend time exploring. So some of the things we've talked about, things that you may not see on a map, or taking the trails, go off and it's a park that is designed to be explored.
Yeah. And we haven't even met in Pandora. Two of the best attractions in the park are there.
Yeah.
And we talked about going back and taking pictures at night over in Pandora. It's a lot cooler. It is a lot
Yeah.
cooler in the evening when you're over there. And
Yeah.
you won't realize, because when we go, sometimes we'll go in June, and when we're down there, like if you get in line to go and do flight of passage at like 30 minutes before the park is supposed to close at 9 o'clock, it actually helps, because all you're doing otherwise is you're standing around and you're just waiting
Mhm.
for it to get dark enough to take these wonderful photos. And as you get out of there, it'll be shortly after 9, and you start taking these photos. I was there till like 9:30, 9:40 one night, and didn't even realize it. And there was tons of us there, including cast members. And the cast members weren't like, "Yeah, you need to leave now." They were helping people take photos and everything else. So the attractions
Here's
are
your photo.
closed.
Get out.
Yeah. Now, if I remember correctly, I might have had to walk out to my car. I don't know if the tram was working after that point, but again, you could still buy stuff. That stuff's open. I think it's at least an hour after the park closes. It's either an hour or 90 minutes. I don't remember.
Yeah.
You locals should know that better than me.
I honestly don't know, because I've only been in
Sure.
Animal Kingdom at night a couple of times. Most of the time I go will be in the morning. And I can tell you right now, when we leave, whether it's early afternoon or late afternoon, there are a ton of people going into the parks then. They're probably smart doing that compared to, I'll go there during the heat of the day.
Now, I will say you do have to be careful if you're going a little bit later at night. By when it starts to get a little bit dusk or anything, I think by 6 o'clock they start closing down the different walks, the Gorilla Falls and Maharaja Jungle Trek, because I wanted to go back and take photos, and they were closing it down by 5 o'clock. So I don't know if that's so they can get their animals back and start, working with them, or what it was. I don't even remember when the last ride for Kilimanjaro Safari is, to be honest with you.
Now, this was pre-Pandora. We had reservations one night for Yak and Yeti, and it was a late reservation. And I think that was the first time I remember leaving that park at night, or when it was dark out. I don't remember what time of year it was when we were there, but I just remember we had a late reservation, and it was nice. It was dark. It was a very different feeling coming out at that point in time, but it was a wonderful experience, and I would have loved if Pandora had been open at that time to kind of like walk around that way. We haven't talked about the parades there in the park either. They're also wonderful to see. Different from the other parks. They're not the longest parades, but it's great to see the characters on the floats, and I can't think of the name of the parade, but
I forgot they had the parade still.
The Jam and Jungle Parade.
Jam and Jungle. There you go.
Yeah, don't they have a special one around Christmas time too?
Well, what is? I mean, it was a version of the Jam and Jungle Parade, I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
Now they don't have. Do they have the Jam and Jungle Parade currently in the afternoon, or is that been suspended?
It's in the afternoon.
No.
See, I thought it was only during the holidays.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, that was discontinued.
Yep, closed in 2014.
Yeah. So what was the Christmas parade in the Animal Kingdom, or the Christmas themed parade?
I saw it once. I don't remember the name of it.
I don't. Jingle Jungle Parade.
Jingle Jungle.
And is that still occurring?
I don't know. It's February.
All right. Let's see. There is a parade in Animal Kingdom. What's it called now? It's called just as it starts at Tusker House Gate at Harambe Village, and it winds down at Disney's. It goes through Animal Kingdom and winds down again by Tusker House Gate. Doesn't give the name of it though.
Okay. With parade floats or characters?
Well, they do have the boats go around with the characters on.
Well, they were having those. Yeah. Now, have they been there recently?
The boats?
Yeah.
Yeah, the boats
They were
still-
there last time I was there.
Okay.
I
I
just
remember
saw the
seeing
boats.
them.
The boats
at
are still
Christmas
there.
time.
They're still there with the characters on it.
Okay. That it's kind of like a cavalcade on a boat.
Correct.
Yes.
And speaking of cavalcades, we've been doing this for an hour, a little over an hour. We're done for the week. We will be back next week with another show. So everybody, and Darlene won't be here. So we're going to have a great show. Ah! Hear that, Darlene? He knows I'm kidding. So anyway, everybody have a great rest of the week, a great weekend. Be safe. Be yourself. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.
See you real soon.
Well, because it's tough to be a bug, we talk about it's tough to be a bug, and because that opened 7 months before the Pixar movie A Bug's Life, and because I heard all of you, or well, it was you, Stuart, say last time that there was going to be no singing on last week's show. So I'm going to have to put those two together and just close us out with, we may only go round one time, as far as I can tell. It's the time of your life, so live it well. So we hope that this was a little bit a part of the time of your life, and that the rest of your life you do live well and come back and see us next week. Good night, everybody.